Jeremiah just woke up from a nap. Apologies, that took forever. All right, guys, wrapping into the semifinals. We've been waiting actually in the lobby for the longest time, waiting for this game to start up, but it's finally here. We apologize for the massive break, but we appreciate you guys for obviously staying with us. It's time for our semifinal matchup. Of course, all jokes aside. Of course, we got TRATL going up against the guys on E6 in our best of 3 series. As starting things off here on Saint Marie du Mans. Map number 2, of course, will be some Search and Destroy on USS Texas. And if we do see a ever-glorious map number 3, it will be CTF on Arden Forest. Just going to get you guys a little bit of a idea as to how this series currently going to be, I say currently, potentially, I don't even know, but how it could potentially be lining out as the first hill over inside a restaurant, one that's usually a contest fest, and it seems to be the case off the start for now, as it looks like currently the guys from Enigma6 holding a quick but minor lead, as it looks like both teams try to realize the most important position at the moment is that rotation. Sender being the only player here right now for the side of Enigma6, trying to secure that early rotation, the early spawns for the hill inside of Winery. Looks like JFatal watching from above does end up taking out aBezy. At the same time, Frostyyy shuts down Diabolic. And just like that, it looks like spawns coming forward, and it will be in the possession of the guys on TRATL. So smart play coming in from this group here, kind of realizing the position at hand and kind of realizing what's the most important factor. Hey, we don't have to hop inside of the hard point. It's not the biggest deal that we grab the last 15 to 20 seconds, because when we talk about Saint Marie du Mans, it's about the money hills. Get inside a winery, get inside a parking lot, even get inside of lookout post. Generally, the first hard point is very important to try to get some time. Obviously, everyone knows that. But that's the hill where you can really start to kind of sacrifice some seconds. Like, it's not really a big deal if you don't or aren't holding a majority of the time, because it's all about that second set of rotations. But as we talk about that, as we talk about how Winery Lot is currently going underway, it looks like it will be the side of Enigma6 who does retake for the expiring seconds inside of Winery. But smart play yet again coming in from the guys from TRATL. Despite not having the exact hold I'm sure they wanted to have on Winery Lot, they are making the smart rotation now over toward the set of parking lot, as this one can play very interesting. We actually got to watch a series for those who watched the Call of Duty World League today. We got to watch this, one of the series actually between an United, where they actually held parking lot hardpoint being down quite a bit, and off holding this hardpoint, they're actually able to win the game, being down quite a few seconds, and it's kind of locking down this hill, being there for the majority of the time toward the end of the game was the reason why they ended up forcing a map 5 series. I want to say that was against Unilad, if I'm correct. I could be wrong, but they ended up losing that map number 5. But not to obviously bring that up. But still, very important to hold parking lot. Very kind of important to kind of hold the meaty kind of hills when it comes down to this. Of course, 2 and 3 being winery and parking lot. And right now, we see the massive difference that it really can make when it comes down to both these lineups. It seems that off the break, it's been the guys from TRATL who are making the early rotations, but for the most part, it's kind of split even for majority of the time, maybe kind of like 40-20. We're talking about each hard point, the first 20 going to TRATL, and Enigma6 are just kind of able to break it fairly easily in the last set of rotations. So with that, lookout post coming underway, the 3rd rotation in a row. The guys from TRATL have won, but it looks like some nades, some shots coming in from Diabolic, as he's now reached the 8-kill mark, now make it 9. Finding himself on a 4 spree, starting to tear some things up, doing some damage when it comes in a lookout post, finding his 3rd kill in quick succession and not stopping anytime soon. Steven Diabolic quite literally going off right now, 7 kills in a row. The PPSH in hand will finally drop, but still a fantastic spree, guaranteeing his team so many free seconds when it came down to lookout post. That's the major difference maker, as why the score total is the way that it currently sits at. Ascender picking right up where Diabolic left off. Of course, both these players known for teaming in the past, a number of different rosters, of course, most notably known on organizations like Dream Team, as these guys are kind of recent additions toward the Enigma6 lineup, along with a guy known as aBezy. For those who aren't really familiar with this guy, it's not actually Beezy, for those who remember Lethal Gaming. 2 different guys. I know some people at times I've seen on Twitch or even on Twitter as well can kind of get them a little bit kind of combined. They don't really know the difference between the two. But aBezy, kind of an online search and destroy player for most of his career, kind of being brought up notably toward the end of IW, toward World War II, is when I've personally heard of this guy. I want to say that he played in a few of our Ghost tournaments, but I've most recently kind of heard of him as of late. And I want to say that he actually played at Dallas and maybe even at NOLA as well. I think he played on actually wildcard GG, if my mind serves me correct. Didn't have the greatest placement in the open bracket, but it's nice to see him trying to get his foot inside the respawn game. And a lot of the times, it's really General who knows kind of a lot about this young talent. Granted, it hasn't been the greatest year for E6 by any stretch of the imagination when it kind of comes down to their kind of amount of roster changes that they've had throughout this year. Of course, releasing the 3 coming from IW and Cade, Royalty, and Proto. They started off the year adding in kind of newcomers. They obviously added Dashy, Bevels, and Decimate. And that was a really, group that I was very excited for because this, like, Enigma6 was the first team to say, like, hey, we have no issue kind of going with Search and Destroy stars, which is exactly what Decimate, Bevels, and Dashy prior were kind of known for. Dashy probably least of the 3 as of recent. Got to watch that guy play on Straight Rippin' toward the end of IW, where he had some strong placements and played incredibly well. And we know him to be a very talented respawn player for the moment as the kills begin to start to kind of come forward here for the guys on Enigma6, kind of dominating when it comes into the respawns. I want to say it isn't necessarily expected, but still a pretty dominant margin for the most part. Not one that I was expecting to be this high of total. But kind of speaking more on Enigma6, I personally have been very critical about them when it comes to the roster changes. A lot of people have been saying they've been making kind of spotty changes from time to time. They kind of end up toward the end of, I think actually for every single event, they've had a new roster, which is very kind of uncommon. I believe that we kind of discussed how they were at Dallas. I know at the Northern Showdown, they ended up picking up God Rex and Panner alongside Dashy for a short time. NOLA, they had a totally different kind of front-facing besides Dashy in general. They ended up picking up Sensor and Blastful. And I know even kind of coming into this current roster change, there was even a tweet that came from General that was saying, I'm not even sure if I want to be under the E6 brand anymore. Like, I'm not exactly sure what I want to do. So it's obviously good that they do pick up the players at hand. And while a lot of people were very critical, and I was as well, about pickups of guys like Diabolic, and so like, what can they really bring to a team like this? They haven't really had the best showing. I mean, Diabolic hasn't really had a great showing since like Black Ops 3. Cinder's not been known as like the strongest Slayer in the world, even toward his times of Black Ops 3 as well. But still, though, these guys can bring a lot of veteran leadership to a group like this. Of course, General, I think it's nice to kind of have like kind of positive players, guys who are easy to kind of hop in scrims with, and not really have any kind of confrontations and whatnot, not having too many minds kind of battling at one time. And that's what I like about both Cinder and Diabolic. Both guys who are veterans, but can definitely take some direction, which I feel like is what General likes to do a lot of the time. His gamer tag kind of solidifies what he likes to do on a map, and he likes to be the General. He likes to kind of decide what's happening on a map, likes to decide search and destroy strategies and whatnot. And this is a kind of an E6 team or organization who's really seen a lot of differences throughout this year. Their original mindset, their original game plan for being a gaming organization was to revolve solely around COD and to really be about chemistry. I mean, the entire team was based out of players who were from Michigan, kind of playing in the MES tournaments, dominating them under Onslaught, kind of coming into the Enigma6 branding, and they've kind of changed their strategy up, kind of going from solely about chemistry and teamwork to kind of, kind of being a, kind of homegrown name to now kind of being about the slang game and having to kind of be a part of a overall kind of slang paralysis like that. So with that in mind, though, the slang is definitely there when it comes down to this first hardpoint, as Landon, for the most part, kind of turned this hardpoint really into like story time, which isn't the most exciting of times, but still, it's kind of hard to commentate over dominance, which is what we've seen in the back-to-back respawns. Both teams being GGA Blue and Enigma6, who are experienced in game modes like this, definitely showing their colors, it's fair to say, as E6 quite literally walk over the guys on TRATL and now have USS Texas up for map number 2, of course, for some search and destroy. This is the kind of factor that we can bring up when it comes down to this series, much like the last one with GGA Blue and I Love Unicorns, was the factor of, hey, we kind of know what to expect when it comes down to a matchup like this, what team is preferred when it comes down to search and destroy and whatnot, when it comes down to respawns as well. But right now, if you're the guys from TRATL, you're coming into this and you're saying, hey, we weren't expected to win the hardpoint. We weren't supposed to win the St. Marie du Mont. But now when it comes into USS Texas, this is our game mode. And I feel like you can have confidence despite kind of being dominated for the most part because you're learning, right? You're still trying to learn and still trying to get some kind of information when it comes down to your respawn game, trying to kind of iron things out and whatnot. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here to the continued coverage for the $300 minimum 4v4 variant. Of course, taking place here on February 15th. It's myself, Lando Sanders, guiding you guys, of course, through the current matchup. Of course, our semifinal going on between Enigma6 and TRATL. I'm liking what I'm seeing off the start. USS Texas prone for the sniper rifle play. However, though, a M1903 picked up rather than a regular Kar 98K. I gotta say, I respect it. I'm personally a big fan of the M19. I'm hashtag Team M19. Prefer the sniper over the Kar 98K. A lot more one-shot potential, as it looks like General not really have to do anything. That's kind of nice. If you have a sniper rifle in the back line, you're just like, hey, guys, it's clear. Like, there's no one over here. Oh, that's right. You guys have already destroyed everybody, so that's awesome. So, Sender, though, jumping off the top deck and quickly able to secure this first round under the wing on the side of Enigma6. Of course, after a strong Map 1 victory, if you're on the side of TRATL, you're trying to kind of wipe off those losses, just trying to get some positives on the board, and unfortunately for them, no player actually does find a kill. So a big defensive round coming up for them when it comes in overall confidence. A first blood would do wonders. And it looks like that's not going to go their way. Steven, Diabolic, able to find the first one off the break. General tosses a nade along with a support fire from aBezy inside of middle. Limits the overall ability right now for TRATL. And right now, 2v4 scenario, you're on defense, so at least there is a positive. And it looks like a Gizmo quickly actually gets swarmed by a number of different players. Now Frostyyy finding himself in a 1v4 scenario. Drops one actually from his own spawn. That's actually General, who was literally in the enemy spawn, not even watching his back. Which, I say that, and it's not even his fault, because, like, where is Frostyyy at? Like, they literally pushed out the enemy base so far that they were just kind of casually in the base, not having any issues whatsoever. But speaking of issues, Frostyyy currently finding himself in one, as it looks like he's having a few players shooting his position. He's not able to escape from that. So probably wish this was maybe like Black Ops 3 or IW. Could have pulled out the active camo and then tried to go for something. But yeah, not in this game. It's a lot different. And aBezy, Search and Destroy player, very well known for that particular game mode coming into World War II. Of course, kind of developing his strategies. I was kind of discussing that in the Hardpoint, how talented he's really been in the respawns, but also in S&D, which is his kind of home play style. As him and Diabolic currently combining for 6-0. General, the only player to die after 2 rounds of play. As it looks like off the start here, and this is what I really want to kind of study when we're talking about the TRATL on offense. What can they really produce, especially on USS Texas? Because you can't afford to be dropping for first bloods, and Zaptius doesn't have anyone watching through B Street. So it kind of taking some fire. Thankfully, Frostyyy was there for some support. And it kind of seems like everyone's playing a separate role. Like, I feel like JFatal, like, he's kind of watching the flank, but I mean, I like to play because, of course, they're kind of succeeding from time to time, but it's just like everyone's kind of doing their own thing. Like, I really wasn't a fan of JFatal's like play being in bottom, yet his teammates are just kind of forcing the issue without man advantage onto that site. Just kind of a little bit, I don't want to say sketchy play, but maybe they were just aware of General, like, kind of off the start. Once he finds the first blood, they know exactly where his position is, so maybe JFatal was just kind of playing spoiler, waiting for that challenge, maybe gets a little bit too over-aggressive. So with that in mind, TRATL gets a round on the board. And we'll see if they can kind of piggyback off of that. Looks like early rush coming in from Gizmo. He'll be greeted with some nice PPS 8 shots from aBezy. Smoke is out. Diabolic actually tossing that one forward, and I like this play. Actually gets naded. That's probably the best thing that Diabolic could have asked for. Like, granted, he doesn't want to be tagged by one shot, but once they get those hit markers, that's when they immediately go for the challenge. So maybe if we see a little bit of a different story as that General will sought the second smoke, this is going to be a continued problem for TRATL because they have to be very wary of the aggression that they can show. But you can see how hyper-aggressive that they really want to be on this bomb site. So while this will probably be a round loss for E6, I really like the idea of them kind of rocking double smokes because this is, like I said, this is going to be a problem for TRATL because they don't and they can't afford to really have that objective go down without already kind of taking it or having the main advantage in their favor. So if we see, for future rounds for Enigma6 on offense and see them rock those smokes, if TRATL doesn't have man advantage, if it's not, kind of a 4v3, a 3v2 type of situation for them, we're probably going to see the same thing kind of happen. So while it is, like I said, a loss for E6 in that round, I like to play, and I think they can. I think if they kind of continue on with those strats, I think they could definitely see some success. So with that, back-to-back rounds here for the boys on TRATL, as it looks like after the first 5 rounds, all 5 first bloods, all 4 first bloods out of 5, have come from the guys at Enigma6. Just like that, Zaptius is able to turn the tide finally. As he'll pick up one, gets hit marker somehow onto General. But there come the nades. Gizmo finding one, General finding the other. And just like that, speaking of General, last player alive. As he'll be greeted with some shots coming in from a top ship area. As Gizmo will be here for the pickup. And solid play in the end there. Coming out of the ATL boys. So, with that looking on here toward round number 6, I was kind of discussing the smoke strategies, which I was really a big fan of coming in from E6. What will they do now when it comes down to this next offense? It looks like General still does have that smoke. Probably the early one going to be tossed off the start. It looks like Diabolic using that strat. And where are the boys from TRATL lingering right now? Looks like they're going to be wrapping back. They probably hear the smokes coming forward, but yet again, not a quick plant. It's kind of like the smoke is acting as a bait. And you see Zaptius. He cannot, like, it's just like they cannot get away from this bomb. They cannot allow the objective to get down. And E6 isn't even trying to. They're just going to try to bait them in, but Zaptius ends up finding the first kill and stays alive. That's such a big kill coming from Zaptius. So once that happens, Diabolic realizes the situation at hand and say, hey, we have to get the bomb down as quickly as possible, get the advantage back in our favor after dropping a player off the start. aBezy gaining a call-out. Now getting ready to be greeted by a little bit of a bait and switch, probably coming forward, but Cinder drops out Frostyyy. Smart play from aBezy to try and back up, however, can't do much more than that. Cinder gets the call-out. And now him and Diabolic. Been in many situations like this as a unit. 2v2. Diabolic finds one. Cinder gets shots tagged in the second. Has the line sight. Drops one onto Fatal. And just like that, 12 seconds left. Zaptius left all by his lonesome. Isn't able to do it. So now looking at this run for Enigma6, we really didn't see what I was expecting them to do, because like I said, that we talked about the smokes. They're not really relying on that. They're kind of just acting as the or they're kind of tossing up that early smoke as a bait. So I'm curious when it comes down to future runs for them, is that, hey, what they might be doing for future is they've kind of already caught the guys from TRATL off guard by kind of having a player rush on the bomb site. So what they might do for another offensive round is actually get a player going for the quick plant off of tossing the first smoke. It's kind of like counter-stratting your earlier ideas. And we'll see if the guys from TRATL will bite on it. But now back on offense for this group. Frostyyy, the bomb in hand. Kind of a very slow-paced round. Of course, both teams trying to find the first pick, especially the guys on TRATL. Looks like early shots starting to go about, probably from Frostyy's point of view. You like to imagine, but a quick rush coming forward. Nades doing a lot when it comes down to this matchup. That's the reason why Frostyyy is able to find the first. Zaptius drops the second, and so just like this, Cinder and Diabolic yet again left in a 2vx scenario. We'll see if they can try to escape from this one. This one, however, much more difficult, and Cinder will find one for his troubles, but he's got 3 more standing in his way. The objective has been planted. That's just another task added to his list. As right now, though, it wouldn't be the worst of ideas if you're Cinder in the situation to really just kind of play for streaks. If they're going to kind of feed you these 1v1s, absolutely take them. Trying to go for a quick bait and switch, but it looks like JFatal doesn't go for the re-challenge. So while Cinder does drop, they're able to kind of force the issue. Kind of a little bit of spotty play coming in from TRATL. Maybe not fully aware of kind of Cinder's progression, excuse me. But he was a player who kind of survived throughout that last, I think it was like a 2v3 with him and Diabolic. So you got to imagine he was at least semi-close, as he was about halfway. So despite that, though, TRATL do escape with the round victory. So now looking on here for round number 8. I know I've been very kind of nitpicky, like very aware of Enigma6's kind of offensive strats. It looks like off the break, aBezy going to be, if we can actually go on board with the bomb planter, which is going to be Diabolic. Early smoke tossed out. So I'm kind of surprised, right? Because in back-to-back-to-back offensive rounds for these guys, kind of tossing out the early smoke. This time, however, no one engages from the front. They actually engage from the flank. Vinny Gizmo, though, isn't able to survive after coming from the backside. So smart play coming in from him as the Enigma6 guys were saying, hey, like we saw some success in the first offensive round, especially in the second one where we actually got a round on the board. Why not try it again? But it looks like going for the plan. If we can actually go to General's point of view really quick, does he have a smoke on his class and has he used it? No. So swapping off. So that tells me that General and Co. were fully aware that a B rush or kind of a swap from one site to another was absolutely kind of in the playbook. So I don't want to say that when it kind of comes down to this round that the guys from E6 were like, hey, let's try to go to A. If it doesn't work out, whatever. But they were kind of planning on going to B because they've had double smokes throughout this entire game. So at least in my opinion, I think they're fully aware that this strategy might not work out again. And obviously they were correct. They try to make their way back toward B. The retake is successful from TRATL. And this is somewhat kind of overall expected, right? This is kind of expected when you look at this series on paper, especially going back to our other quarterfinal, or our first series, of course, which was a quarterfinal between GGA Blue and a group known as I Love Unicorns. One team known for respawns, another known for their search and destroy game. Pretty much the same case when it comes down to this matchup as well, is the S&D team doing the work that they need to in their preferred game mode. Is right now Enigma6 on the back foot. A round like this would be big. And right now, if you're TRATL, play off of Zaptius. He's got the streaks, and of course, the reason why they're giving him the bomb is to try to get that early. They toss out a little bit of utility, nothing really found of it. aBezy goes for the quick challenge, and just like that, Zaptius successfully finding 2 streaks off the start. Glide bomb coming down. Let's see if we can find anyone. I believe Cinder the only player not rocking mount, so they at least know of his position. And we'll see if they can play off of that. Diabolic quickly starting to make some damage happen, but Cinder now 1v2 for the map. Can he force the round 10, or is this one done? Of course, like I said, bomb. Objective is down. Not a whole lot of time left to work with. And if you're Cinder, you got to put the foot on the pedal. Like, you've really got to get going. But it looks like they're not even going to be home on the A site. They're actually making the rush toward B. Do they have enough time to get the plant down is the thing. And he's not even checking the feed. He doesn't even see him on the bomb. Cinder doesn't realize where he's at. Will he win the gunfight? And no, it's not going to be there. If you're Cinder, you've got to be aware. Because, like, in a position like that, I'm not sure if he just didn't see the legs. But when there's seconds are counting down, your vision should be on the bomb site. Like, that's exactly where you should be looking, is directly on the bomb to see, hey, is someone planting? He doesn't even realize that. Wow, that is just overall very surprising play coming in from Cinder, because that would have been not a 2v4 clutch, but that would have been kind of like Diabolic and Cinder both clutching out and kind of finding an ace between themselves. But still, though, this one will go the way of TRATL. Thought that a round 10 had potential for it. But we can kind of witness here in the overall box score, for those who didn't get to watch the first series, a little bit of a switch of graphics. We've got a pretty interesting kind of setup for you guys. Of course, the key in the bottom left to let you guys know exactly how these rounds specifically take place. We, experimented with the kind of X's, like we all kind of know, like the pace of how rounds go. But this is kind of a way to realize exactly what happens in these rounds. Like, what really was the overall kind of landscape of this series, which really was relied heavily on the kills. It was relied heavily, especially for the side of Enigma6, as well as, obviously said the guys from TRATL on slang. Of course, it looks like a defuse ended up coming in from round number 8 on the side of TRATL. But really, I was kind of impressed off the start with Enigma6's plays on offense, but really, it didn't equal out to a whole lot. When it came down to TR on the offense, they were seeing quite a bit of success, and they obviously do see a victory in general because of it. So, with that, it looks like map number 3 is actually getting ready to line underway here. That one will be on Arden Forest. So a lot of storylines kind of coming into a matchup like this, especially coming from our prior series. The factor of, a team not known for the respawn gameplay. I would say that, like, comparing I Love Unicorns and TRATL, I would definitely say that TRATL are more fitted for a respawn game mode, especially like a CTF. But, I don't know, like CTF on Arden Forest plays a lot slower. It's not exactly like London Docks where it's super fast-paced play, so I think they stand a better chance as far as like this overall, kind of layout as far as things go, because in CTF, like, things can go very quickly. They don't have to worry about that. They can kind of play a little bit slow, kind of play off of that. And I think in Search and Destroy, you're kind of used to that slower kind of gameplay, the very clutch 1v1s that you have to win, which is going to be happening quite a bit in Arden Forest. So I think this is a better fit for a team who's not super experienced when it comes to the respawns, let alone a CTF. But when we look at the guys like on Enigma6, we talked about, 3 of the 4 of these guys are kind of considered veterans at this point. General, Diabolic, Cinder, all these guys, or excuse me, those 3 guys, known for CTF. They've been a part of some legendary CTF maps in the past, just even going back to General, like UMG Orlando, like everyone knows about that amazing series versus them in Optic Gaming. I mean, they've seen their fair share of CTF, so they know exactly what it kind of means and the callouts that are going to be necessary coming into a match like this. 4v4 variant taking place here on February 15th, our first live stream from the new UMG studio. And, of course, it is my pleasure and my excitement that's currently, of course, being shown right now in our current series, our semifinal matchup between the side of TRATL and Enigma6. Last map underway for some CTF on Arden Forest. Winner moves forward to the finals to face off against GGEA Blue. And loser, unfortunately, will be sentenced to, like, what, a 3rd through 4th place finish, which is not at all what you want. You want to be in the money, right? You want to have that opportunity to win that majority of that $300 prize. As looking on here toward some of the gameplay, as General off the start making his way through forest side, now toward backside bunker, trying to get in the enemy base. However, it does fall a little bit short. Cinder is there to kind of pick up the pace. As overall map control definitely kind of favoring the guys on E6. The numbers, however, a little bit scarce, as just like that, aBezy will fall. And now if you're Enigma6, you kind of have to back up. I like to play from center, getting in a different vantage point, kind of resetting things. And this is where, at different moments, we're going to notice, and it's going to be difficult for me, obviously, as a commentator, to kind of pick up every single time. But little moments like that where Cinder kind of backs up. He doesn't try to force the issue. He doesn't try to, kind of rush a particular play with his head cut off. Like, he just kind of plays back, realizes the situation at hand. That's when we start to see, like, the veteran plays and the overall experience start to come underway. Because now he locks down this entire side of the map. Like, there's no one who can kind of force up this side because of Cinder making that decision. So while he doesn't find any kills, he at least has the support. And now the rush can be made, and the push rather can be made. It's just, like I said, all about the numbers. Stun comes forward, picture perfect timing. Cinder takes out one. Where are the players lingering? JFatal in the back lines also drops as well. As it looks like it will be a mad dash to try to stop this one from going through. Diabolic, the flag in hand, and it looks like GloFrostyyy will be here to try and play spoiler. Big gun engagement. Jumps one, tosses out the nade. Tells Diabolic to play catch, but it looks like it's not going to go forward. Diabolic instead will put in that first flag capture with just 2 minutes expiring here in the first side of some CTF. So smart play coming in from the guys on Enigma6. They play the numbers well. They realize that, obviously certain gun engagements, certain times the numbers were in their favor. They still held map control. They held certain positions. The 3 lanes on this map, of course, bunker, middle, as well as forest side. And just to name one particular play was Cinder, right? He kind of sits in toward back stacks. He realizes the situation at hand. Doesn't have the numbers. Let me give myself a head glitch. It obviously plays off very well. By the way, take notice of the streaks. What was that? 5, 4, 4, and 3 were the overall streaks that everyone was going on. This very, very solid play coming in from the guys on E6. As unfortunately, it looks like we're staring at a dead body for the time. I think we're back now. And it looks like, I believe we are experiencing an unfortunate Codcaster glitch from what I'm hearing from production. We do apologize for that. Having some issues tonight, unfortunately, when it comes to the Codcaster. It looks like on occasion we kind of be stuck on a certain player's point of view. So if we are staring at a dead body, it's not that we're just excited to see that player die. We apologize about that. But looking on, though, I believe I just saw Cinder die, I think, maybe 50 points away from a streak or so. So that was a crucial kill that comes then our way, but I believe General on the opposite end, though, has secured streaks for the set of E6, so they can at least sleep easy tonight to know at least one guy currently has that in his favor, has that in his back pocket when they vin to use it. But with time starting to expire, that starts to rest the minds of TRATL as a flag capture. I mean, just kind of evening things up would be very good for this group, especially kind of being on the non-preferred side of this map, just because the reason is having so many options to really spawn up. And it's a lot easier to kind of defend a base that's a lot more wide open. This one a lot more condensed, as you kind of see aBezy's point of view being shown right there as the streaks start to come forward. I love this play. aBezy needs to win this gunfight, is able to do it. A 1v1 like that, along with the streaks, 4 go down, and that's going to be another flag capture underway for the side of Enigma6 as they use the streaks perfectly in that situation. aBezy just needed to win 1 engagement to get that flag home, and he does exactly that. Granted, he's sitting at 4 and 7, but one of those kills equals out a flag. That's a worthy exchange when it comes down to the overall kill totals. But it looks like aBezy could still make a run here. 10 seconds left, and we talk about overtime. As long as a flag is in the hands of some player, overtime will continue on. So he's going to go and grab the flag. That's going to totally catch the side of TRATL off guard. And with that, stopwatch underway. A minute left. aBezy has the flag. His cuts are being watched. General, along with Diabolic, finding a few. Last player alive is going to be Frostyyy. What can he try and pull off? Can he hold off the enemy line? But no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to go underway. And just like that, 2 flag captures within what, like a minute and a half, end up going forward all off the back of aBezy. This man playing incredibly solid. When it came down to the objective, kind of getting behind enemy lines was really the major problem for TRATL, along with having the kind of smart plays from Enigma6, kind of playing off of those streaks, generally utilizing those to get a flag capture forward. Always nice to see that. But speaking of streaks, though, like I said, I do talk about aBezy. In one of those gun engagements, he also does earn streaks for his team. So obviously prefer to use those on offense, but if you have to, a last kind of ditch effort, if you have to put a fighter pilot or a glide bomb in your base or the enemy base, it's kind of like a little bit of a nice security blanket that you want to use. And when it comes to Iron Forest, blankets are important. Very cold here. But it looks like Frostyyy does take out Cinder just toward that side stack area. So like I said, early map progression is basically what both teams are trying to advance right now. Once you have the man count advantage in your favor, you want to try to force your way up the map, which is exactly what we're seeing the blue arrows do right now. They have to make sure that they do cut their losses. If you drop a player, you play a little more passively, but it looks like they have found the kills in quick succession. aBezy, though, the last player sitting toward that back rock position. Big gunfights going down to the PPSH at long range will secure the base for Enigma6 for the time being. And JFatal, too little, too late. The pieces are already scattered all over the floor. There's nothing that you can really do at this point. Just kind of time to reset and try to reevaluate the situation. And along with that, we talked about aBezy. He's currently on a 4 spree right now. Diabolic ends up dropping 1 onto Gizmo, and here come the streaks. aBezy utilizing those. Zaptius dives quickly onto the flag. A glide bomb still in the back pocket. It's all about grabbing that flag, though, and it looks like Gizmo is there to find 1. Trying to hold off his base for as long as he can. A nade for the second. Nearly finds the third, however. Cinder trying to play spoiled. He has no teammate support. And honestly, if you're in Cinder's point of view, I would really just stay alive. Like, I don't even have to fire my weapon, because all they're going to be doing is just being in a full-on worry as what you're doing to ruin their setup. And it looks like Zaptius, though, does have the flag in hand. He's actually escaped with it from the enemy base. And Cinder is still alive here. Cinder has not died. It looks like a return could quickly come forward. And just like that, the tide has turned. aBezy takes down Frostyyy. The flag is back at the base for Enigma6, and Cinder is on the run. Off spawn, Diabolic says welcome to the map. And welcome back to your reload screen, as it should be a 4th flag to go through here for the boys on Enigma6. And just as that goes through, the chance of TRATL kind of pulling off an upset in the respawn starts to become less and less likely. The nails in the coffin starting to get hammered in. And we'll see how TRATL can start to weather the storm. As we're kind of taking a look at that overall scoreboard right now, we see 2 players really struggling at the moment, both Zaptius and JFatal. Kind of nearing, or both kind of nearing that double negative margin. Of course, Zaptius already there. JFatal a kill, or death rather, away from that, as he'll be ever inching toward that. But slang not currently there for them. We kind of talked about the early streaks, the kind of slang that was there for E6 off the start. And the kind of rally that came forward for aBezy, right? The kind of the 3 quick flag captures that go forward, or the 2 toward the end rather. of that first half. And I gotta say, we got to watch Cinder throughout a lot of this map in kind of very crucial moments, ones that maybe equaled out to like 2 or 3 kills, but meant the overall difference when it comes down to the series. As great movement actually coming in there from aBezy despite dropping in that scenario. But witnessing Cinder kind of play very passively back up when his teammates didn't have map control. We got kind of talking about him being in the back of the base, waiting for kills to kind of go his teammates' way. He played passively, waited for his kind of overall team to have the numbers, and it worked out very well for them. As speaking of Cinder, of course, Glide Bomb from the skies takes out 2. That flag is stopped right inside a bunker in a kind of collective stronghold, as it will not be able to escape. And it looks like it will be the guys on Enigma6. Starting to feel some confidence, and they have every right to do so when it comes down to the respawns. As the final seconds start to tick away. Massive props, though. I got to give props to, of course, all the guys on TRATL for making their way when it comes down to a respawn tournament. Not the best when it comes into respawns. Of course, all preferred Search and Destroy players, especially both being Frostyyy and Zaptius. I've got to watch these guys sometimes in respawns, and for the most part in Search and Destroy tournaments, are facing off against a very difficult team like Enigma6. It can obviously lead to scorelines such as that. But Enigma6 have officially secured themselves in the finals here for tonight's tournament, as it's really been kind of an overall slaying frenzy for both themselves and their soon enemy, being the side of GGEA Blue. Didn't actually get to witness the guys on GGEA Blue play against Big Beams, but if we know anything about Big Beams, if you guys have heard of that team name, it's definitely stuck with me, that's for sure, just because of the uniqueness about it. But those guys, I believe like Tish, I want to say like Skiliosis is on that team, not 100% sure. But those guys, very, very talented when it kind of comes down to not just Search and Destroy, but slang, and the respawns as well. So I'm sure that probably wasn't the easiest matchup by any means for the guys on GGA Blue to win. So maybe some more stiff competition for them. Maybe playing a little bit, better as far as like better competition, which can kind of have your weapons a little bit, maybe firing a little bit better when it comes into the finals. But of course, it should be a very interesting one. When I was looking at the signups for tonight's tournament, I was looking at 2 names. I was looking at GGA Blue, and I was looking at Enigma6. And here they are kind of meeting up in the finals for what should be a very, very interesting final. I believe this will be a best of 3 as well, so of course, not having to worry about the best of 5 format. Both these teams kind of playing standard when it comes down to this series. But looking at the overall kind of score totals, and if guys are a little bit curious as to why sometimes we see 2-1s, 1-0s and whatnot, that's just based off what teams reported. So we can't really play off the factor of like, did this team win in game 3 or what really was the case? So don't think that, one team just forfeited and it was just like, yeah, it's like quite what we saw. No, that's just what was reported and whatnot. So GGA Blue, not exactly sure how close their series was with Big Beams, but I like to imagine it was probably a lot closer than their prior series versus the guys on I Love Unicorns, despite seeing a map 3. It was dominance when it comes down to the respawns. So I think kind of giving a quick overview of our finals. Of course, we'll head to a commercial break and get that series underway for you guys here shortly, sort of get the invites and whatnot. But I kind of want to discuss what I think is going to happen in this series, because both these teams are very fit when it comes down to the overall kind of landscape of the series, especially for the opponents for tonight. But I think the major difference between both these two teams is the overall consistency when it comes into Search and Destroy. What I really like, though, about these teams, right? You have the guys on GGA Blue, who also have very talented Search and Destroy player and Supreme Agility. And you look at the guys from Enigma6, who, all 3 of them known for respawns except for one, right, who is aBezy, known for Search and Destroy gameplay. So they're going to be seeing kind of an AR battle probably going on between General and Johnny. Search and Destroy guys, kind of the quick SMGs at times, kind of the objective guys at some points, going to be Supreme Agility and aBezy. And like I said, Stamina and Evader going up against Diabolic and Cinder. Kind of guys who are on the come up as far as like their careers. I mean, we haven't really heard too much about Stamina and Invader till probably IW, and I've been hearing about Diabolic and Cinder probably since like the early parts of Ghost, if not Black Ops 2. So kind of a major difference when it comes down to the final 2 players, but it's going to be a very interesting matchup. It's going to be kind of a cool little bit of a lineup to obviously witness here when it comes down to this matchup. I'm cold, steel stainless. My glass half full. Always said don't suffer no fools.